Mid-March is a bit of a colder month, but it is a magical one nonetheless. Rivers run with crystal frost ever so calmly making their way over through the rocks. As you watch some kind of like pieces of large clumps of snow that have found themselves to be together from the top of the mountains, kind of like linger as they make their way down. A gentle breeze comes over the top of the oak trees as they bend and kind of like wean with the flow of the air coming over those same mountains. From within the woods, it is relatively barren with light. As the water beneath, you could see all the way down. It's not murky. It's very kind of almost gradient colors. As you can kind of see like small, almost like minnow-sized fish, no bigger than kind of like that, make their way kind of like down the stream and like linger in like the small kind of like more calmer areas of the water. You know, large like embankings that make it into kind of like what feels to be like a small pond. As your character makes their way up onto the river banking, please describe your character to us.
Bank has a medium-sized height that casts a shadow on the water, and she's very peculiar looking. Most people get a little off-put as they first see her. She has feathers that almost don't make sense if they were talking about a bird's anatomy. It's like feathery hair instead of completely covered in feathers, and she doesn't have any wings, it seems. She has talon-like hands, and she would have talon-like feet too if she had any. But her most notable feature is that she doesn't have any leg from her knee down. Instead, some kind of rickety-looking prosthetics are there instead. Yeah.
Okay. With all this in mind, you find yourself at the water banking. You were instructed to grab a couple of things from the edge of the water for your local apothecary for the most part. And with a passive perception, you find that they are not that hard to find. Do you pick up these ingredients and search for more? Or do you think that probably after a good day's worth that this might just be enough to call it a day here and head back to the good old shop shack?
Ren's gonna think to herself, and she's gonna think, oh, I bet Grand would like it if I 20 extra minutes got a few more. So, there's some water over there. She pulls off over to what caught her eye.
Alright, give me we'll go with an investigation check.
Fine.
Do you remember how to operate the dice roll?
Yes.
Alright. As you make your way over, you begin kind of like searching around. You know, you drag your fingers through three. You try to drag your fingers through the sand to see if you could like find anything on the banking, but with the mixture of kind of like this almost like clayish, texture at the bottom of like the sides of the bank, and most of like the snow kind of like being like brushed down and followed down the river. It is a lot harder to find anything worth grabbing. And to you, none of this really looks like none of it really looks like anything that Granny would probably need from what you've seen her collect in the past when you've joined her to the riverbed.
Shit's slippery out here. God, they're not. Oh, Gram's is gonna get mad again. Last time I fell, she had to hold me for a while.
You're gonna head back then?
Yes, Wren's gonna head back.
You make your way back. The trip is not very long, but it's one you've done before. You find a little kind of like leaf-buried pathway that you've kind of found yourself in. And it helps you kind of like travel through. The trees are kind of like off to the side. They're not really in your face, but it is a much easier travel through than trying to stay on that riverbank and try to balance out over some of the wood and clay that's kind of like bent over the side. You've lived in the mountain or kind of like these edge forests for quite a while now. Since you came to be, you know, this has always been home. You know, here to the river back, it's mostly what you've seen, what you've become familiar with, and mostly overall just what has felt like home. You know, the wilderness, being in the woods, nature, the birds, you know, up there in the trees, they feel like just good friends to you. Sometimes you choose to talk to them, you know, other times they respond, but you know, everyone kind of feels like a friend when you're all the way out here. You see just off into the distance that old wooden shack covered to the top by moss to keep the rain out. You know, well constructed over periods of time. But you know that this building is aged just the same as you have. You know, every year something new added. You know, every month has a new smell, it feels like. As you make your way over and into the small little building, keeping a little I'm assuming you got like kind of like a little basket with you, keeping all the goodies you found for the most part. Hello. Sorry. You've got the goodies you found then, and kind of like a bag off to the side.
Yes, some of them are draping away, some of them are nice and tucked in. The more important.
Okay. As you make your way through and into the door, kind of like getting yourself acquainted, you see a well-old lady in the corner with you know, a pot of tea and, you know, some other things that she's doing. You know, you got the lavender all mixed up. You know, mortar and pestle sits on the side of this sort of counter, and she turns in that warm kind of like gaze and smile, welcomes you into a house you feel like you've, you know, always been welcomed in. But that smile never changes, and the emotion never does either. And it is who you call Granny, because while there might not be an exact relation to your knowledge, she's been there since you've kind of came into this world, and you know, there's been here through it. You know, you see her kind of like try to like hold her hands. It's a little bit colder from her, even though it sits at like kind of high 50s. You can see kind of like with her old bones, you know, her hands like twirl around. Oh, you have found everything I've looked for. She kind of almost seems like the voice is kind of like a little evil witchy, but in more of the terms of like, it's just the way that it sounds. She definitely isn't. You know, for as long as you've known her, it's always been good. It's always been healing, you know, keeping each other warm and stuff like that. She's taken care of you for so long. And as you take it over, oh, let me see the bag. Let me see the bag.
I tried to find some extra things, but it's way too slippery out there.
Oh, did you fall?
No, not this time. I made sure not to.
Okay.
Just you.
Okay. All right. Let's see what you've got. Oh, you are safe. No cuts or bruises. You didn't fall or anything. You know, her hand kind of like places over yours and checking to see if you're okay.
Not as easy as it used to.
Okay. Okay, I'll leave you alone. Let me see what you found. And she kind of like goes through, and tries to like find things. Oh, 1 and 2. We got. Oh, you do have quite a good collection of things here. I should be able to use most of it. Whew. Was it cold by the river? Was the water cold?
It was a little breezy, but it was pretty sunny also. There's a lot of sunshine.
Yes, I've seen the sun begin to rise and fall a little bit later and earlier. So that means that summer is almost upon us. Did you see your shadow, even though you are not a groundhog, but I call you my little groundhog?
And you know how excited I am for this one. You're gonna go bird watching.
I am. But we need some good things to keep us in good health. Make sure that our chest is good. We need to make sure that we are breathing okay, you know, as we progress through. How are your legs?
There's some discomfort, but it's, just the growing pains. When do you think they should be done?
Oh, I don't know. The rest of your body has gone through major advancements, you know, with the nature that it's evolved in. So there really is no saying when they might be done, but I hope that maybe it would be done by next spring, by the latest, so that way maybe, just maybe, we can go on a little trip. We can go for some long walks outside when you are capable of walking. We can be all nice and wrapped up, you know, for a good little adventure by ourselves, but not too far, just around some of the places that I used to frequent too.
Maybe I can find me some birds and gather some of your herbs from the other 2 lakes.
Oh, there's many words from here to. I've heard that there are how many? You can see that she kind of like zones out just a little bit, as she kind of like goes into the counting.
You can't know the exact number of herbs.
But I know a few. Don't think I don't know a few. Let's see. There's. I think that there are maybe 30 on the other continent alone. So maybe we can find some people in town that have brought them for us to see, since you know many of the birds that live here already, Wren.
You think Giuseppe knows any different ones?
I think that you can ask him when he gets here. But
He's coming?
He will be here? Where is the sun right now? Where is the sun? She kind of like looks for a window and kind of like, you know, it props it open and lets it out. You hear kind of like a swinging, you know, like the shaders is what I'm looking for. You hear like the swing of the shader kind of like go up as she uses his stick to prop open a window open, and you are kind of like filled with this. Oh, it's like pure oxygen. It soothes the soul, and you could not get more in the force than something like this, you know. You know, the warmth of the sun kind of like seeps in, you know, when it's like a cold day, but the sun is still warm and it kind of feels like standing by a fire. It's kind of that nice, you know, ray of sunshine that kind of like comes in. And it heats kind of like where the wood starts on your legs, and it kind of feels like it's warming your knees just a little bit, keeping your little body warm. She goes, "Oh, he should be here quite soon, actually. if the sun has reached that point, oh, he should be here quite soon. Maybe he's just running a little late on errands and things, you know. He's become quite a busy person, you know, since he has met us, you know, taking our news back and forth and telling us about all of these great old wonders. But he should be here soon. Come help me move these things into the pots, please. Let's see if I can get a remedy going to help your breathing just a little bit more. So you kind of see her kind of like do like an emperor penguin waddle as she makes her way over to the over to this kind of like cast iron stove that she's got going on, that she uses. Like it's kind of like you know, you guys are very like of the nature for the most part, so it's a very kind of like chiseled out stone that she uses as like a heating surface, if you know what I'm talking about. It's like a cooking stone. But she does have a very small handful of things that have come from like the outer world that like Giuseppe has brought. So he's brought, you know, like cast iron things and stuff like that. Better like things to heat up, kind of like kettle or like small cauldron, kind of like a mortar and pestle sized cauldron sort of thing. Just like a small pot to help her like heat up a lot of her remedies. Now, since Giuseppe has been quite a hand to you guys, you know, both recently and, you know, a little bit in the past, as she starts to get things ready. If you would like, I'm assuming you would like to help Granny?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Can I get you to give me 2 checks? The first one is a nature check, and then the second one is a medicine check, if you can't help me out with that.
Yes. You want nature first?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so your first one, because the first one was nature, second one was medicine. First one was a 22 in nature, which makes sense, and then a 7 in medicine.
It's a 21 on mine. For the...
No, because look, it rolled... It's the 21 in... Did you do it backwards? Or did it load backwards for me?
It says 1d20, 18 plus 3.
Yeah, that's the nature check. No, right? Or is that your medicine modifier?
Nature is the plus 3.
Okay, and then the blank is the medicine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, so a 21 in the nature check, which I said makes sense, and then the 7 in medicine. So, you know, from your experience of being here, you know that what goes in first, you know, you kind of like hold off Granny when some things kind of look like they, not just yet, not kind of just yet, and you've kind of like paid attention. When it comes to some of the other things, you've always kind of been mixed up trying to follow, like, you know what, like, herbs and roots and other things like that go for a lot of these remedies, but you've been trying to learn, and, you know that some mix, some don't. You're trying to remember, you know, which one goes where. So both of you kind of, like, hold each other off from, like, you know, the not yet, or not that yet, or, you know, that's for later, that's for something else kind of thing. And that kind of, like, bounces between you and this almost fairy tale-esque kind of, like, place at the moment. As it kind of, like, simmers in and things like that, she says, and we're going to let it rest. We are going to let it rest for just a little bit longer, and we are going to wait because Giuseppe is bringing me a very special little ingredient. So we will wait on him for just a moment longer. I think he's making his way up the trail as we speak. And as she says that, you can hear from, like, the outside, kind of like footsteps make their way up, kind of like a wooden path. You know, like some of those paths that kind of like, you have like this, this slab of wood holding back this like ground, and then you go to like the next one, almost making like makeshift steps, kind of. That's kind of what you've done to help Giuseppe make his way up and down, with some of the things. And you hear the footsteps of a very, of a familiar to you, for the most part, as he makes his way up to the door, and you hear a very gentle, a knock at the door. What is held by it. Do you answer? Do you wait for Granny to answer?
Don't worry, I got it. I can go grab.
As you make your way over, you open the door to see, well, a familiar face with quite a handbag full of things for you, and he goes, "Are you sure your legs haven't grown in? I feel like, I don't think we should get any bigger than this right here. I think this is good, right, Granny?" Granny goes, "Oh, she can grow as big as she wants to be grown." And he goes, I'm just saying, if she gets any taller, she might be taller than me. So, I won't. How are you, Wren? And he kind of like leans in and kind of gives you like an offhand shoulder hug. Kind of like leaning off to the side.
See, Giuseppe. How's your rep doing? How's the medication working?
I think I might have something for that. Let's see. I think I might have something for that down here. And he reaches down and he creates a little, kind of like a purplish blue liquid vial. And he's like, "I believe that this is for her, if you want to take this over." And he hands it to you as he kind of begins to like set things down. Do you want to examine this thing, or do you want to like give it over to Granny for her to kind of like measure into her stuff?
Granny has older eyes, so I think.
You want to take a look at it?
Yeah.
You want to go passive investigation, or do you want to do an active investigation?
Passive investigation. Passive's in the left. I'll do a.
You said passive?
No, I'll roll for it. 'Cause it's only
You roll
11.
for it? Okay. Fingers crossed, no harm in trying.
Better.
Well, no, only one better.
Did it go worse?
I'm trying to like think, because there was really only one better than as you take a look at this vial, you can kind of see it's very sparkly. It's a sparkly vial. And over examination, you can see that this is something that you have definitely seen delivered before. So Giuseppe isn't bringing anything new. You've seen her add this. And to your knowledge, it helps kind of like slow down heart rate in a good way. It's mainly good for her, when she gets very like uppity, if she ever does. It helps slow down her heart rate and kind of works as like a liquid inhaler for the most part when she gets this like all mixed in. Gets herself like calmed down, makes sure the blood's pumping fine, and kind of like keeps from hyperventilating and whatnot. Yes. Yeah. Are you still gonna hand it to Granny, or anything else you want to do with it? You said yeah, you will?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is for his wife.
What'd you say, sorry?
For his wife. Right.
Yes. He kind of just needs some help. Good old boy needs some assistance too.
He's a scribe. He doesn't do the.
He doesn't do it. He does deliveries and writing and other things like that. He's not versed in that sort of thing just yet. All right. Let's get this ready for you. So yeah, so as you bring it up to Granny, you know, she knows and kind of like murmurs to herself, and you hear that Giuseppe says, "For you, however, young lady, I believe I have found something that might pique an interest of somebody of your interest, I guess you could say." And he reaches over and he gives you a piece for you. Hold on to. He says, I have found somebody. He comes from the United Republic. And he makes things for people in your condition who don't have legs just yet. Now, I know that you're not done growing yet, so, you know, you still have time to find these legs. I think that you would just find it as an interesting read over. It's an article that I found, and he kind of like unravels it for you and points to some like highlighted bits, you know, and he goes, I just thought, you know, me, my wife, you know, in this situation, we wanted to do something different other than just being your guys' distillery. So, you know, just keep it open to, I don't know, keep it open to what you think, I guess.
I'm hoping that I won't need this. I'm hoping by next year. Granny said maybe by next year.
Okay. My apologies if I'm stepping on anyone's feet. I didn't know. As you know, I'm not really used to this sort of thing. I never have been. This has been relatively new, for the most part. But I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm sorry. If you're supposed to be better, then maybe it could be an ornament. I don't know. I feel like that's rude to say. Is that rude to say? I think that's rude. I won't say that.
You're right. You're right.
I will just keep that to myself. How about that? We'll keep that. Nothing ever happened. We're fine. All's good.
It's okay. I'll take the fee. You still went out of your way to get it. I'll take it.
All right. Okay. I can take it back. You don't have to have it. I mean,
no, I want it. I want it.
So you do want it?
Take.
But you got it. You got it. We're good. Got it. Okay. You
Yes,
hold on to that for me. How about that? We'll put it that way. You hold on to that for me.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Sounds good to me. I guess because it was partially. Anyways, how are you guys doing? Anything exciting happened lately? I hope nothing exciting happened. That wouldn't be very good.
I think there's a feather in my room that I haven't seen before. I don't know what bird it is. I was wondering if you could tell me. Can I go grab it?
Oh, I can try. I can surely try.
Well, you've seen more than me, so.
I've been up and down one of Ophelia's continents. Okay, I don't. It doesn't mean that I know where everything is. Okay, I'm not aware of all things.
Go get it, okay?
Okay. I'll leave you to it. All right. I'm assuming you make your way over to try to find it.
Yeah.
You make your way over to kind of like where your, I guess you could say like room is, your pad, if none the case. And you would say that you're quite a collector of nice things when it comes to nature.
It's
nice
kind
things.
of giving like Ariel vibes, except for like not.
If Ariel was a mermaid of the forest.
Yeah.
I guess you could say it. And you've got trinkets that, you know, Giuseppe has been bringing you for
Shelves
time
and
to come.
books. Yeah.
time to come. Books, items, things, gems, jewels, plants. You got a bonsai tree that he said he got from this place called the Rugathos. You know, you got things from all over the place, all over the world that you've, sat to find, as the outside world is sadly not something you're very familiar with, but it's something you just can't wait to get to. You know, when you get your legs, for you, that's freedom. For the most part, that is the freedom to get out there and go where you please. Eventually, as you kind of like scramble around, you put it in a very important location. You know, you're not willing to just give it up to nobody. You gotta hide it. It's gotta be secured. And you do find it. After finding it, what do you choose to do?
I kind of like make sure that it's not crumpled and that all the feathers are nice and all the like tendrils from the feather stem are all nice and aligned and
Kind of just like
nice.
petting it, making sure that some of the split bits kind of like soothe themselves back together, make it look all nice as you kind of like wave it out and forward, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I let out a little like squeak from excitement, and I'm like, okay. And so then I go back.
You disappear back out. You hear kind of like the wood kind of like clonk against the wood underneath you as you make your way over and hold it out to him. He goes, can I see it?
It's orange, maybe some like yellowy. I haven't really seen that kind of stuff from birds around here.
He takes it and kind of like with a very kind of like light, he goes, whoop, and he kind of like snatches it from your hand. He goes, well, it's quite small for the most part.
Like down feathers
that orange. Well, you would think that for something this small, it may be like just like a small feather that sits underneath, but it's very firm. It would be like a tail feather almost, or like a feather off of a wing for the most part.
Well, you don't want to. You don't want to.
Sorry. And he kind of like he takes his shirt. Sorry. I'm not 100% sure, but by my guess, I would probably say it's an Oriole.
Oreo. Those are definitely. Do we have many around here?
They could come around. I mean, more of not very common. Where did you found this by the riverbank?
I just plays off.
I'm not. I mean, maybe he came down for a drink, but he was probably just a passerby, and you seemingly got lucky with a passerby. It seems like nature has given you a rare gift and something to hold onto for later.
Usually all the feathers are like gray. This one's so pretty.
I could not agree more myself. That is
Maybe I can use it as a bookmark.
If you want to. I mean, I feel like, don't you have like falcon feathers and eagle feathers you use as a bookmark? Or do you mainly use those to try to practice your writing with it, though?
It's so pretty. I could use it for something important.
You could make an ornament off of it. You could do something like that, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of free range, you know that. You know how to get creative with those kinds of things. So maybe you could make it a bookmark. Maybe you could use it for something else. I don't know. You're quite a very ranged little gal, so there's quite an inventory of things. You kind of, like, as he kind of like sighs off, you hear like the gentle pouring of a relatively like clear-esque lavender liquid, kind of like river into kind of like a flask-esque sort of thing. She kind of like seals it over. She, puts a cork down, using one of her fingers. She goes, Warren, could you try to get that more secure for him?
Yeah, yeah.
And she gives it to you, and you kind of just like, pat it down just a little bit using your thumb to kind of like squish it into place, and make it firm. Now, you must wait a little longer before you can actually have it. It must cool off in the, I forget the many things that you give me, but it must cool off in the container that it's in at the moment. Must let it settle, let it sit. That's when the leaves get their aroma, and that's where it'll come in. When that happens, you are more than welcome to give it to her. Warren, would you like to come with me down to the local village? There are a couple of extra things that I would like to get for no reason in particular. And she has this very suspicious smile on her face, but it's kind of like a joyful, can't keep a straight face while trying to maybe hold back a mystery of some kind.
Oh, yes, I would love to go.
Okay, I think that it is time. And she kind of like walks over. She grabs like a little bag, as Giuseppe kind of like reaches over and like helps her get it off of her thing. Oh, thank you, Giuseppe. Oh, thank you. As she goes, okay, and she like pushes everybody out of the door. As she closes it, she goes, we are gonna find little Giuseppe, and we are gonna go down to the local village town and figure out what maybe we had ordered there. Giuseppe smiles like he knows what's going on. He goes, well, ladies, let me be your number one escort to take you out of here and bring you down to our wonderful local village that one of you knows so well, and the other one needs to see more of, in my opinion. But experimentally adventurous nonetheless. Onward to the adventure to a local town. Trust me, doesn't get that much better. As he points to you and kind of like leans the way, as he makes his way down, the path, kind of like, side to side. Everyone's kind of like moving. We're keeping Granny in the middle to make sure she doesn't kind of like lag behind, helping her get down off of things, down off the trees and whatnot. Keeping her from falling. It's a little treacherous here. On some of these rocks for both of you. I was gonna say you already had a little bit of experience earlier, so for both of you, this is kind of
Giuseppe has his work cut out. He has to make sure it's like
he's got to keep carrying to you. One of you
yeah.
can't walk, the other one basically can't walk. So he makes his way, down and through, and eventually you get to this very kind of like cottage-filled village, just overlooking far out into the distance. You can see what looks like never-ending water. It looks like a farm that or a lake that goes on for forever, just out into the middle of nothing as you make your way down. And it is a gorgeous sight to see from here. For the most part, you've only seen this a couple of times at this point. And it is one of your favorite views that you've ever seen as you make your way down and into kind of like this little, like I said before, this little like kind of straw village that they've got going on down here. You watch as Giuseppe kind of like waves you guys goodbye. Thanks Granny very much for the stuff that she's given him, and as he makes his way kind of like back towards home. But you're also aware that according to Granny, down that way is like this almost like postal office, so it's either between home or work, but both he enjoys he enjoys quite well. She takes you by the hand and places you over. Goes, now I need to pick up a couple of things from our local mason. I promise it will not be long. In the meantime, as she kind of like turns your head, and there is, unbeknownst to such, a bit of cattle, and more importantly, out of cattle, there are a herd of sheep. And sheep are just so cute to you. They are adorable, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's just giant cotton balls, and it amazes you. It's a giant cotton ball. And she goes, you go hang out with your friends, and I will be right back. I promise not to be very long. And you kind of see her, like, make her way. What'd you say, sorry?
I said okay.
Okay. You kind of see her kind of, like, make her way, as you hear, like, the echo from, the sheep and the other kind of, like, wildlife around. You could easily hear, like, you know, like, cow and chicken as they are being moved by, like, local people. No one really gives you much attention. You're kind of, like, relatively invisible to these people. For the most part, I guess you could say. Kind of invisible. A couple of glare, I would say, from, like, here to there, but mainly just sort of, like, ignored, nonetheless. And kind of just left to be, like, the weirdo in the corner, if that makes sense. For at least some people's opinion, but not for your opinion. For the most part, am I right? You're just living the dream for what you believe the dream is at the moment. Yeah. All right, do you make your way over to the cattle?
Oh yeah.
So you make your way over, you know, you situate yourself with where the cattle is. Do you have any words for the local sheep?
Yeah. So as Wren walks over, she kind of like takes out the little feather that she found from it, and she like tells the sheep about what she found, and like shows it to them and says what she likes about it, and just like goes over it and her ideas for what to do with it.
As you go over and kind of like fantasize, like kind of just like fade out into the imagination, like, explain like how Warren, like go off and explain on how like Warren, kind of like it's talking to them. It's just innocently describing what she thinks she's gonna do with it and what her ideas are.
Hey guys, I know I didn't know you guys were grazing yet. You look well. And she like scratches some of their like chins and, you know, gives them a few pets. And then she's like, oh my gosh, look what I found. And she gently takes out the feather and like kind of brushes it to make it look nice. And she's like, oh my gosh. So I asked Giuseppe because I wasn't really sure. And he said it's a Oriole feather, but it's different than the ones I've showed you before. It's like orange and yellow, and it's really pretty and striking. The other ones I find are usually like gray and like brown, and they're kind of boring, but they're still pretty nonetheless. Also, it's beautiful. And they're not as pretty as your fur. Don't get me wrong, but which might I say looks lovely today. Did you guys do anything different?
You immediately, from this like group, you see from like underneath you there, you watch as like a couple of like just like aged fallen like crumbles of leaves, as you say that, kind of like move around you and into the pen, as you watch like one of the sheep like wiggle their head kind of like side to side for a moment, and all of a sudden you hear like a voice that kind of like just like somewhat startles you for a second. It's better, because in my opinion, it should be as proper as it needs to be. I have worked very hard on this. It has aged phenomenally. What did you say, Howard? I would say quite the same. We have worked very hard on these coats. For these basic people just to shave it off of us and make us cold, I believe that they've done us wrong, my good friend. Could have done us wrong. As you can kind of hear that they're having a conversation with each other, and you could begin to like understand what they're saying that originally seemed like it was just mashed by like bars and other noises. They sound like they're quite proper folk for the most part, talking like people from
Little
books.
snippety.
What'd you say?
Little snippety.
A little snippety. There's a little bit of attitude here. Very very kind of British attitude that they've got. Goes, well, I have eaten quite a delectable types of grass today. There's been a little bit green over there, a little bit greener over here. But for the most part, and he, like, you could watch one, like, trail off and look you dead in the eyes and... The thing is looking at us. Make a noise at it. And you can hear one, like, imitate, like, an audible bah, but it just sounds like bah, as it, like, tries to, like, mask it, and that one leans down. I think it can understand us.
Hello? Oh, were you talking just now?
Bah? Bah?
I'm usually... Oh. Maybe I'm just imagining things. I talk to them so much that you would think that they'd
She's
just
very weird. I have never seen her so infatuated by us before. I know she's hopped over here and spoken to her herself, but I've never known her to... We're going to say something to try to see if we can understand this creature.
could speak.
Huzzah! Who art thou? Do you present us to the mighty shepherd?
Come to you guys a few times. You usually, don't seem to mind my presence.
Ah! It can understand us. We are cursed. Dead. It must be a warlock spell. I don't want to be found. Now they can know what we think. I don't like knowing our thoughts. It can read minds, probably look at it. It looks at us such an intent. It knows what I'm thinking. It knows exactly what I'm thinking. Bashful.
No. I just hear what you talk. It's not like I can read your mind. That'd be silly.
So you can only understand my verbal commands? I don't think
so.
you can... Ah! It spoke again like it was responding to me. You hear one of them go, no. It is fine that they are able to understand us. We can finally have a conversation with somebody other than ourselves. You watch somebody kind of like march through like the sheep's herd as they kind of like all, you watch as like the wool kind of like jiggles to the side as one makes themselves in and kind of like looks you up.
So cute.
Looks you up and goes, hello. What is your name?
Wren. I sometimes overlook the pen and look at you guys.
Yes, we know. You're here every so often, so rarely. And you're Wren, you say?
Wren.
Wren,
Like
very
the bird.
nice to meet you.
If you can't tell.
My name is Marianne.
Marianne, I'm so happy to finally know your name. I could have used to just guess, kind of named you myself, but I don't think you'd like the names I picked out.
You hear the other one in the background. It can read minds! She got mine read a week ago. I hate that. I don't like this place anymore. I would like to move to a different pasture. You watch as Marianne kind of like rolls her eyes off to the side. Oh, don't listen to them. They are all hysterical. They're very hysterical. They are
I've never
just
really been able to talk to you before. I don't know what's different, but it's nice to have friends.
Oh, friends?
Yeah.
Why, we've been here listening to you the entire time.
That's good. That's good.
What are you doing right now? Why are you
Well,
speaking to us about this feather? Is there something you would like to know genuinely? Or you just need somebody to talk to? And you can see as it kind of like goes down and lays with its like legs out towards the fence, as Marianne is just like infatuated in this conversation with somebody other than a freaking out sheep.
It's pretty good to talk to animals and people. It's not really like that much. So I was just telling you about my new findings.
Well, let me take a good look.
Isn't
Well,
it pretty?
it is very pretty.
You don't usually see these, right?
No. No, I don't believe I've seen many of these. You hear the other one in the background. That's because the demon has spawned it. Oh, we are all going to die.
My granny has some hysteria medication if it's hysteria. I don't know if it works for animals though. I know it works for people. There was a really crazy guy once. He came in and he was just raving and everything. Granny said he'd be fine if he saw me because people would think he's making it up because he was just so crazy. He was so hysterical. Can you believe that?
Are you the child of the old druidic lady?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, it's fine and good to put a face to the rumors.
Hi, Granny.
Oh, yes, indeed. We have seen her many times. She's had many conversations with us. Oh, we finally just wanted to meet you. No, not as often as we wish. She used to. But then times had changed and she just didn't come around as often.
It has been hard to all her topics and stuff. I worry because she's getting a little old, but yeah,
Oh,
it's my grands.
I think everything will just be okay. You two seem to live such a cute life together.
It's pretty perfect. Once I get my legs, it'll be. I'm so excited for that. This is maybe next year.
Oh, maybe. Job. And
I'm sorry, I'm a little different. If you couldn't tell,
oh,
a little special.
yes, we've seen so many differences. And the dude in the back, and I've hated them all.
I really need to talk to Granny about the hysteria medication. I really think that it could help.
I don't think it would be against to maybe take one or two of a test. Ah! You watch as he like falls over on his side. He's spoken to the demon. I am to die.
Oh my gosh! Should I go help?
He's fine.
I'm not really great with.
He's fine. He's just faking his death. I give up on life. May the souls of the gods take mine and make bread with my heart.
You make bread out of sheep. But maybe that's something I haven't tried. Maybe that's like in like the other continent.
The devil
Gosh, that sounds.
speaks to me, and I hate every part of it.
You know what the devil is?
He kind of like leans up and goes, "You!" And then you watch as he kind of like collapse down. Now end it all for me.
Did he say moo? I didn't think sheep could moo.
He believes he's many things.
That's the first I've ever heard. Well, also it's the first time to me again, or responding to what I was saying. So
That is a fair point to make. You had said the other continent. You've never been, have you?
no, I haven't been many places. You know, a lot of people don't really like me.
No other towns? Countries?
Other towns, right?
There are many towns. We've traveled to so many. You've never been to another town before?
No, I don't think so. I can remember. I get a little dizzy, so I can't remember everything to the best detail. So I could be wrong, but I don't think I'd be wrong about that. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
Well, let me tell you something. about adventures that we have taken, because it sounds like you are just rearing up for your own, aren't you?
Yeah, I would hope so. Here, let me sit down. Let me get all nice and. Okay. Go ahead.
You kind of like you fix yourself in and kind of like sit. Well, I'm assuming like what crisscross applesauce, sort of, just like legs all pretzeled up and just invested in these stories.
I died, looking fully at them.
Just locked in eye contact the entire time. You kind of see as as Marion kind of just like leans off to the side to start the conversation. Well, we were originally from a place known as Balborton View, and it is in the South Empire. It is the capital of the South Empire. Do you know what a capital is?
Maybe? Kind of sounds familiar.
It's just one big city that operates all of these other some of these other small cities, if that makes sense. So you've got big village and small villages, and that's
Big
what
villages.
a capital helps can make sure that all of these other small villages stay safe.
There's places bigger than this? I thought this was already big enough.
Oh, there
What do we
are
have? We have, like,
places way bigger than
12
this.
houses?
Oh, there are hundreds of thousands of houses if you go to Balborton View.
Hundreds of thousands.
Oh, I can tell that we are.
Sorry,
going
I'm
to be
interrupting.
good
I'm interrupting.
friends.
My bad. Continue.
It is okay. I am all set for questions. But there's a place called Balborton View. It is one of the biggest villages that I have ever seen. And here, at this wonderful place, is a wizard. He is oh so tall. Oh so very tall. You think that,
Wizard.
you know, the local travel folk... Yes, a wizard. Do you know what a wizard is?
Yeah, I know what wizards
Okay,
are.
okay.
They're the guys with pointy hats, right? And then, like, the gray beards that you see in the storybooks?
For us, yes. For many of the books you'll probably read, they look like that. But he doesn't look like that. He is
He's a wizard that doesn't look like a wizard?
not a traditional wizard, for the most part. You see, this wizard, he stands at... Oh, he is 7 feet in height. That is like 4 of us stacked on top of each other.
What do you imagine?
Very tall.
Or sheep stacked on top of each other. I feel like that would be dangerous, though.
Oh, not safe for us, but for him, that is just how big he is. He is such a big man. And he looks kind of like... Oh, not exactly like you. But kind of... He has looked... Have you ever seen a cat? Or
I've seen a
photo
cat
of
before.
Oh,
I think there's a barn cat that eats the mice.
He
Mice
looks
always
like a cat. His whole face is like a cat, but he is a cat that looks like you, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? A cat that looks like you.
Does he have feathers?
No feathers.
Does he have talents?
He has claws, but not talents.
What other features do I have that he would have? I don't think I'm.
Then I might be getting a little off track from what I remember. See, when I lived in Balborton for the little time, we were sold as cattle sheep. You know, some of the outposts that they have here when they sell farm life. You know, some of us split from each other for a small period of time, and then sometimes meet back up. Well, I used to be... Oh, yes, it is very sad. But it has allowed some of us to explore the world. You know, not every bad thing is truly a bad thing, I would say.
Well, I can imagine being away from my granny.
Oh, well, yes, it is a change for the first time you do it. But Well, once you finally get that first moment, oh, it is just a wonderful world out there. But when I was there, I had saw him march out from this magnificent palace, and I had thought, oh, what a noble man. And he was, oh, that's more or less where I want to go. His color palette was kind of similar, but brighter than your feathers. His feathers were, oh, but they weren't feathers. They were like fur, like on a cow, or a cat, like a cat. And it was orange, and white, and as crazy it might sound, garnishes of blue all around his mane. And many say that he has horns like elk antlers, if that makes sense.
I think I've seen a cat. Well, I haven't seen any cats to begin with, but I don't think cats come with horns.
He is a very special cat. Very special cat. And one day, if you are ever to leave this place, I would try to find that cat. And I think you could
His
ask
name?
him. Oh, I don't know his name.
Maybe I'll ask Giuseppe. Maybe he knows. He knows a lot of things. You know Giuseppe?
Oh, I've seen
He
him
has the
walk by.
library?
I've heard people say his name. But I don't believe I've ever talked to Giuseppe, if you can't already tell.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine you talk to many people. Kind of like me.
Oh, then we are quite the same, aren't we? Well,
We're
here's
friends, right?
what I would... Oh, very much so. Very much so. Well, here's what I would say to you. I would say, one day, when you finally get the chance to make your way into the open air around you and explore the great wonders and magnificent nature around this world and see what other habitats look like for other creatures, since you are oh so fascinated by those, well, I would just say, take a look around you and always be willing to take in what this world has to show. Because I know that you out of many would appreciate it more than many.
Very wise sheep, you know that? I've talked to many sheep, but you seem like wise ones. Most that I've seen.
Well, I think that's just special if you think that I am a wise sheep indeed. Well, I do choose to educate myself with wiser people like yourself.
You think I'm wise?
I
I don't
think
get told that. I don't get told that a lot. I get told that I'm clumsy and kind of ditzy and a little bird brained. I know feathers and everything. That one's a real treat.
Get that.
But I never got wise. Thank you.
I think you are a very intelligent young lady for yourself.
But thank you.
May I ask you something though? That, and she kind of like crawls up. That little emerald. What is it?
Well, I don't really know. I kind of just, I mean, it feels like it's me, really. It feels like everything else is kind of just, like I'm wearing a hat. It feels like me. It's like your heart. You know where your heart is in your body? Kind of it is.
Tell me more. I want to know more about your little emerald.
I know. Here, let me show you something. This is really cool. I learned how to do this the other day. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little dragonfly appear and come out and start
Okay.
going around.
Kind of like a little image.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like with a wave of your hands, you kind of like draw out a dragonfly as you kind of like, rub your fingers together to kind of like accumulate these wings, and using your hand you kind of like push it through the sky as it flies around, and then you kind of like let go as you can see like some distance between you and the fly as you make it like kind of like flap around. And the sheep is, oh, she's so fascinated by watching this go around, as she's watching it kind of like make its way through the sky. um there's no sound to it, but the wings still like give that dragonfly kind of flutter, um quickly as it makes its way through, and eventually kind of just like fades off and disappears at one point. Why, that was just magical. You know magic.
I think so. Granny calls it. It's like nature's blessing or something like that. I don't really know about that, but
Oh,
I just,
but it
yeah.
is a gift. It is a gift given to you by nature itself to be able to do something like that. Oh, that is so magical for you.
I can do
I'm
lots of other things too, but I don't think I have the time to show you everything. I'm still learning though. I don't think I know everything. Don't get me wrong. I just, I can do cool stuff.
Oh, well, I bet I cannot wait to see it. But with your magic, I must tell you something. And this needs to be a little lamb secret. Can you keep a lamb secret? Do you know what that is?
Yes, pinky promise. Oh, you don't really have to, do you? Um,
Not necessarily.
uh, still, pinky promise.
I think that'll work. She kind of like leans in and places kind of like places her paw down on you. He goes, she leans in and says, "Now, do you know of, and they are not the same thing of what I mean, but do you know of the wolves here?"
Like the animal?
No, not the animal.
Different kind of wolf?
When you have been up where you are at your home, have you ever seen men with animal fur make their way through the wilderness?
No. If anything, Brony might know. I'm gonna ask her when she gets back, which all about
She might be done soon, but here is something that I need you to know. With magic, you possess a very great power. Now, there are some people that can teach you how to be better with it, like the man I just mentioned, the big,
Yes, the wizard
big
that's not
cat.
looking like a wizard.
The
Yeah.
wizard that doesn't look like a wizard, yes. He can help you learn even more about what you can do with your magic. And so far, you've learned that you can speak to animals and
That's a
create
new one.
tiny little insects out of your hands, it seems. Well, with that in mind, your gem is very important and it's very beautiful. But there are men and there are people who will search for what you have. And you need to keep it safe, okay? You can't share it to everybody because not everybody will be as impressed as me. So it stays between us, alright?
Yeah. Granny says that some things along the lines too, because I'm kind of special, so maybe that's what she needs. Not like special in like a weird way, but special in like
Oh,
like
but
a
you, yes, like in a,
cool way.
yes,
I'm really cool.
in a fantastic way.
Yeah, yeah.
You hear kind of like a shop door open, um, from like kind of like a distance, and Granny wave out, "What? I have what I need. It's time
Oh,
to go."
bye, Marion. I'll talk to you again soon. Okay.
You watch as kind of like Marion follows you, to the edge. Goodbye.
Oh, and I'll make
Good.
sure to get your friend that potion for the hysteria.
Oh, okay. We will give it a shot next time you're here.
Okay, bye. It was so nice talking to you. It's new for me too.
She smiles as she kind of like makes her way as you leave, and as that distance, kind of like proceeds to collect over time, um, you hear her kind of like say goodbye, goodbye, coming from Marion, and then all of a sudden it kind of like seamlessly waves into like Baz, and other like sheep noises as you make your way away. As you start
Grant,
up the
Grant,
trail, go ahead.
Grant, you are never gonna believe what just happened. You just the sheep, you know them? They say they know you, and like I say they actually talk to me. Isn't that great? I think maybe it's a sign that my legs are kind of coming soon. Like like all these new powers and things.
Oh, I think it's a great sign that you're progressing with what that is. Now, did you speak to Marion?
You know, Mary? Yeah, she said she knew you too. Yeah,
Oh,
I did.
we love to talk to each other when I come here by myself sometimes.
You know about the other one? The other one's kind of weird.
Oh, I
I
know
think we
him.
need to get him some
I've been
hysteria
trying to
medicine.
figure something out for him for a long time. He is just,
Okay, good.
he is
Puts my
never.
mind at ease. I wouldn't want anybody being sick around here when we need help.
Okay. How about this? As you kind of like make your way down the woods, um, she says, "Now, I need you to go a bit away. I have one final thing to grab for you. Before I'm
Okay.
all done, I need you to make your way up back home. And if you can, just stay there, and I got a little surprise for you when I come back from the riverbank, okay?"
Okay, okay. I'll be good. And I'll go into the cabin and I'll stay there.
Okay, good girl. All right,
Oh, do you
I'm
want
a
me to make anything for like tea or anything? So when we get back?
Yes. Put on your favorite thing of tea if you can. You can remember what Grandma's recipe was for it.
Yes, yes. I think I got it. I got it.
All right, I'll be only a moment longer, so you better hurry.
Okay, if you run into trouble, make sure you yeah, talk to Giuseppe. I know it's a little bit of a ways, but
I will make sure that if something happens, I will be as safe as possible, and I will make my way to Giuseppe.
okay. I love you, Gran. I'll go now.
Okay. You make your way kind of like up through the woods and to the cabin finally. And as you kind of like fixate things around, you put on a spot of tea. Um, and kind of like the day is almost on its like winding to an end. Um, sort of feel eventually. And it's not something that really like takes you off at first. Um, but it is taking her kind of like a second or two to get back, which is a little odd for the most part. But eventually at one point you hear steps come from the outside of the cabin. As the kind of like the day winds and kind of like a illuminating sunset as kind of like pink clouds cover the sky now. You hear people coming towards. Do you kind of like go over to see, maybe like look out a window or something?
I think I'll take a peek, but like it's not really. It's like a rushed peek because I'm.
Oh, because you're trying to hide the surprise, but you're at the same time super interested to see if you could see it. As you make your way over, kind of like leaning up against kind of like the door, you peek through one of the little holes in excitement, and you can hear a pair of footsteps make their way up the little hill trail. And those don't sound like Granny's feet. As they kind of like begin to make their way up, Granny also didn't have a light or a lantern with her, as you see kind of this orange blaze come through the woods and up the trail, and you see two very armored people before you kind of get scared and turn away. This is not Granny, and they're approaching. What do you do?
What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? He says not to talk to me, but she didn't have any comments scheduled at my life. I'm just gonna turn off the lights and hope they go.
As you make your way around, and kind of like turn off the lights, um, blowing each like little candle out,
Closing the blind.
closing, kind of like bringing everything down at a quiet pace. You eventually hear, um, kind of like what starts as like a gentle like knock at the door, um, doo, 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 doo. But nothing as an immediate response. And then you hear a conversation. What do you speak? Do you speak Undercommon?
Me?
Yes.
I think so actually. Hold on, let me check. Just in case. I don't.
You don't. Okay. As you kind of like hear the knock. The knock kind of gets like a little bit louder, and in like Undercommon, they begin like shouting towards the door for it to be open. Um, do you open the door or do you hide?
I'm gonna hide.
Gonna hide. Get me a stealth action.
No.
Not anything but stealth. Not that.
Well, I don't
Anything
know
but
if we're
that.
stealth. She's fine. Stealth is actually one of her highest, but we'll see what the dice decide. I've done this
Okay.
drill before.
Okay. I've hit the deck before, Captain. I'm not new to this. As you hear the foot, like them kind of getting a little bit louder, you can't be seen. You gotta stay away, and these people don't look like they're friendly people, and it definitely doesn't seem like um, it's Giuseppe. So immediately you make a dash and hide, um, in kind of like underneath one of like the side tables, making yourself like small and in like this little cavern area, and eventually the bangs start getting more aggressive. um just like I said before, the knot gets more aggressive. Eventually, the door kind of like gives way, and you watch as two individuals make their way into the room, and they are kind of what Marion had said. It looks like these people are carrying like the dead animals on their back, but almost like what to you seems like half of a dead animal. Kind of like slightly covering their face. They immediately like come in, and they start sifting and looking around, speaking to one another and kind of like murmuring between each other, like shuffling things side to side, moving things. You watch as like things kind of like fall off the table. Do you try to move, or do you just stay still since they haven't seen you yet?
Hand over my mouth and like try to be really quiet.
As you do, you can kind of see them stand around, and they seem to be, they can't find the thing that they're looking for. um so you watch as one like holds out like a large stick. They rip apart one of the carpets that you kind of have there. um and one of them takes what kind of looks like a flint, to you, but what like Granny is used to like make fires, and kind of like chipped it off and leaned into this stick, like this piece of rug on a stick, and places it against it. It goes, and eventually you watch as that like same like orange glow that they had with the lantern proceeds to fill with this orange glow. And then they hold it up and they've set kind of like a makeshift torch. And after kind of like confirming to one another, one takes a lantern and throws it in the direction of, at first, your room. It kind of like lands in the doorway of your room, and then the other one towards like the apothecary things that Nana had made, and it slowly begins to set fire. As it kind of like rises up, and through the side, they converse back to each other. I'm gonna make a roll to see if they don't spot you, because you beat that one. So I'm gonna make one of my own.
I'm so nervy. Now Wren's thinking how the fuck he's gonna get out of the house.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Ooh. So 21, but yours is a 22. So that's you watch as they kind of like wave things around, trying to like move things, like they move tables, and eventually like they shove and overthrow one of the tables, entrapping you kind of like in the desk. As things kind of like begin to like rage, you hear them like talk to each other, and then proceed to like disappear outside as everything kind of becomes ablaze. And as you sit there kind of like with your hand over your mouth, you begin to smell, and the smoke is like seeping into the wood and beginning to kind of almost like gas you out a little bit. What do you do?
Gosh. And so, how is this desk that I'm in? Like, how is it?
So think about it kind of like it's kind of like a lamp desk almost. Like it's kind of like just a little bit thick enough, kind of like where if you're like really curled up, you're basically kind of like in the cube. But they took kind of like what was used as like the apothecary desk and overturned it, flipping it towards you, so it's almost made like this like one-way concealant where you can kind of like crawl out the side of it, but it's gonna kind of like take you a little bit of a wiggle to do so. It's gonna take you a little bit of a wiggle to do so because it's kind of like intertwined, so you're gonna have to like kick out. You know when it's like weaved, like the outside of something is like weaved together.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a basket, but it's like a table weaved like a basket. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like a gradient on the outside, like a grid kind of.
Yeah.
That you'd see. Yeah, that's kind of like how it is on the outside. So that's kind of like what that smoke is kind of like wrapping around and like seeping into.
So I'm gonna try to like press on it and try to like get out. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to like kind of use my claws and like try to like scratch your way out.
Okay, so at first, kind of like just pushing against it lightly, you can hear kind of like the strain and like the flex of like the fiber, sort of, as it tries to like keep itself together. So kind of like a gentle push, and then you said you wanted to kind of like pick at it.
Yeah, like kind of like scratch it, kind of try to get like the weaving of it undone, so I can like put it back.
Okay, so give me we'll do it on the terms of a. Give me a strength check. We'll go straight strength, because normally, technically, maybe like other unarmed, but I don't think you have claws as a weapon in your character, so we'll go with that. But you kind of do have like the nails to pick at this thing, so we'll go with like strength to see if you can't kind of like not rip it, but like.
Oh, 10.
10? Okay. It's not very hard to, but eventually kind of like pushing against it and using your talents to kind of like move it, you end up like accidentally like pulling it in on yourself, as it kind of like pulls you forward pulls you backwards. My apologies. For just a moment. What's the move now? You're gonna try to like kind of like crawl out from this thing and see if there's an exit? You make your way out. You make your way out of the thing, and as you stand up, you can see that most of the stuff has kind of like caught fire, and most of this kind of sets as like a very bottom-loathing fire up to the window. And you can see that the door is kind of like outset wide open, but passive perception would tell you that they are standing just outside that front door.
We're standing just outside the front door. Okay. Sit next to my room.
What'd you say?
Oh, is it next to my room? Like, is it
the hallway has kind of like made like wall worth of fire, so if you're quick enough, you can kind of like move through the fire without taking any burns. But you also kind of risk like your wooden legs getting caught on fire. But you can make it to it if you have a good enough if you make a good enough try to kind of just like breach through the flames for a quick second to get to your room.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna cast Absorb Elements.
Okay.
And I'm gonna specifically my legs, and then I'm gonna make a dash for see if I can get on.
Alright, sounds good. You kind of like reach out your hands as you watch this, because I'm assuming you're like trying to be rid of the fire for the most part to give yourself an easier gateway. You reach out your hands and you watch as they kind of like die out and fly towards kind of like what would be like your cuff pockets before like disappearing into like the palm of your hand, basically. As you move through and into the room. What in the room are you trying to grab? Are you trying to get something? Were you trying to use it to escape?
I'm trying to see if there's anything like valuables, and then if there's a window to get out from there. And
what would you deem as valuable at the moment?
Maybe like a book, maybe some like tonics that I just have around, some herbs, and just making a dash and getting out.
So, 2 tonics that would be in here that you would kind of like help use, that you would immediately be able to see, is a tonic of restoration. Something to help you breathe better. Very big on the breath. So that kind of thing that she had made earlier is also up there. You can also find one of Cure Wounds. You can find kind of like a small tonic potion. Let me make sure I have the right size for it. Heal Wounds potion. Yes. So it is you might want to write this down, or I can type this out to you. But the one that you have there is a 2d4 plus 2 added to hit points after drinking.
Send it to me. Okay.
You got it?
2d4, right?
Yes. 2d4 plus 2 hit point. So plus 2. 2d4 plus 2 is how it's said. Sorry.
Cure Wounds?
Potion of healing, sorry.
Potion of healing. Okay.
And then book-wise, the only book that you could probably deem as like being, willing to carry is a book on the top shelf. It's a religious book called the Lemurion. That is a Bible in someone's culture, basically, that you would love reading.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I grabbed those things.
Okay.
And then, is there a window?
There is a window in your room.
All right, I'm gonna out of that.
You're gonna jump out of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a dexterity throw.
Got it.
It's cold where I am. Not as cold as
Cold where
being
you are?
in this fiery furnace of a location right now.
Oh yeah, it's so cold.
What did we get? A 21. All right. Immediately, like, using the window, you kind of like hop out and kind of like let yourself down, but eventually your legs hit the ground and move dust. You can immediately see that what it almost looks like the animals on their heads, ears could hear you. You watch as these two dudes turn to you and yell out a very kind of like unrecognizable kind of like, hey, mixed in with whatever like language that you're from, and they begin to like chase you and make their way towards you at like a quick rate. Do you run? Do you stay?
Yeah,
What would you do?
I'm gonna wrap around to the front and try to make my way down the trail.
Okay, give me an athletics check.
Yeah.
Jeez. My apologies. Jeez, that was quite loud.
Sick. Go.
A 6th. You start making your way around, kind of like taking them on a loop around the house, before making your way down the trail. You know, your athletics is not very good because of your legs as you kind of like stumble down the trail, and you can see them kind of like chase you into the woods and begin following you. And as you make your way, they kind of like enclose and run. One of them runs up kind of like this almost like trail, like hillside, that you kind of use as like rocks. And he lunges down towards you. Give me a dexterity saving throw. You said you got a 10?
Yeah.
You've just not been doing too good with these prosthetic legs.
He managed to not used to running away from people.
That's fair too. Immediately he like grabs you, kind of like coming over around your shoulder, and loses his footing as he dives towards you, as both of you kind of like fall, and he takes you down the hill as you like tumble over one another, like falling down, and eventually you get led off of this large kind of like almost landfall sort of like cliff down, as you roll, and as he falls, his back like lands, and you can hear like several cracks as he lands on kind of like one of a ledge rock, before you hear like a very like agonized before he before he like lets go of you, and you continue to roll down the hill yourself, like tumbling over as like your legs kind of almost your body just like tumbles like a branch falling down, and eventually you kind of hit like a similar rock, but you go like chest down, and as that happens you hear kind of like a crash at like the middle of your chest, and wind be like knocked out of you, like wind feeling like it just flows out of your mouth, as you try to like catch your breath for a moment. Give me a perception. What is your passive perception? It was, you said 11?
No, my passive perception is 12.
Your passive perception is 12. With passive perception, then you can see these kind of like shards of green all around the ground, and you know exactly what that is as your body kind of like struggles to breathe for a moment. You know what you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay. What do you choose to do?
One of the vials. What was the healing one?
It was like the resuscitation one.
We're going to talk the resuscitation one,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to take the little glass, like little shards, and like
Mm-hmm.
just quickly pack them in as best I
After you take the drink, you can kind of like feel yourself get a little bit more air to your lungs, as it feels like that air is actually beginning to like you're almost suffocating with this crystal broken. And as you kind of like you scoop it together and you put it back together, the potion kind of like feels like it's prolonging as you're trying to take like deep breaths and like put it together. And you'll get to like a piece where like it finally completes the gem. But as kind of like one falls off for a second, it goes back to glowing and then fades out and then glows and fades out. And each time you do, it feels like somebody giving you a breath and then taking it away. Is there anything that you have on you that you can kind of like more secure the gem even with its cracks? Maybe like, maybe like make something out of like druid craft. You're looking, you're trying to figure it out.
So I think the only thing that I can really do is the elementalism spell or cantrip, and to use sculpt element kind of to like cause the dirt to like pack it in together.
Okay. Okay.
But that's only for an hour, so
I think within an hour you can, depending on how this goes, you might be able to find something to keep that together. But as you kind of like pick it up using the mineral bits to kind of like help enclose it, you finally get like the calm breath back. The potion sets in and you breathe for a moment. As you kind of like look around, the area around is kind of like slowly reaching like a twilight dark as the sun breaches through the trees. Kind of when you look around and look up, you can see the man in this animal skin with his hand kind of like just stuck outwards off the side. And he's not alive. You can tell that he is not moving, and he looks like a dead animal for the most part, for in your case. um at that moment you don't hear anything but the forest, and it is ominous.
Mills seems to start hyperventilating a little bit. She knows she got her breath back, but she's scared. She's
Mm-hmm.
alone. She's just had something scary happen to her. This guy's dead that was chasing her. Scary. She gets a little freaked out. She gets a little panicky.
Uh-huh.
She starts racking her brain for what to do. She starts to get up, and she kind of like tumbles a little bit, trying to get up, trying to get herself, situated.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gonna try
as
and
you
see where she is.
as you begin to like stand, you can feel beneath you isn't as secure. Using like a tree to kind of like help you up. You look down and your prosthetics are really like banged up. Like
Oof.
there's like huge chips that make your thing go from what feels like before kind of like a real foot, real firm spot, to now it feels like you're standing on, one leg is like a firm foot that's bent sideways, and the other one feels like you're, like standing on a pencil.
Is there like like a stick that I can use for like a walking stick to help balance?
Yeah, I would say that within this area, you could probably find like a stick enough to kind of like help balance you out and turn it into a walking stick.
I'm gonna do
Um,
that.
okay, so you kind of like crawl over, like reaching your hand as far as you can, using kind of like your middle finger to roll it over. You finally like roll over a branch, and kind of like use it to help you up. What's the next move for you?
I guess trying to position myself where I fell and see if I can go to any landmarks I know.
Um, while positioning yourself and looking at the sun, give me a nature check to see if you can't figure out where you are or what direction is the right direction to go.
Yes, sir. 9.
You said 9.
Yes.
You know from the sun's position that going westward is the, because it rises in the east, sets in the west. Am I not being stupid right now?
No, I think that's correct.
Okay, so westward is towards the direction of the village, but you don't really knew where you fell, so you don't even know if you follow the sun, it'll take you to the village, or you'll walk right past the village.
Honestly, I think my best option is to head in that direction. I mean, it's the opposite direction of where those guys are, so I
Okay.
think I'm just gonna go that way.
Um. All right. You make your way in that direction.
Hobbling as best I can.
What's going through your mind right now?
Um, Panic of like just completely doesn't know what to do, doesn't know what to like very frazzled. Her first thought is where Granny is and how she's gonna get to Granny and if Granny's okay. And that's really just like the driving force on her mind. Just try to get somewhere where she can at least ask for help that, seems viable.
Very fair. Very fair thoughts. Set of thoughts indeed. All right. As you make your way down, towards kind of like the area, you see that you are off, but you're not far off from the village, and you kind of like correct yourself to head there. But as you do, the closer and closer you get, eventually at one point you kind of like creep up on a log, and you watch somebody on horseback make their way almost in front of you, as the shadow of their head kind of like, I guess, um like covers you slightly. You kind of like duck down for a moment to hide, um before looking around, and the town is been ransacked.
Oh no.
Um Things have not been set on fire, but things have been what looks like taken and moved. And this is not the only man on horseback. Um you can see here there what looks to be other men that you can tell, have villainous intentions as they move things from like local buildings. They take iron from like the local black smithery, They take food. You can watch, in the distance, you can just see that being like hustled into the water and on like a rowboat to be taken to where you can see now like a boat sits deep and far out into like the ocean bits. You can hear the sheep kind of like, bat in concern as they're kind of like huddled into the water and onto like a rowboat. You can see like Marion be forced to like kind of like sit between a large group of other sheep and cattle as they're basically like stuffed in to this like animal only rowboat. With this, you can also see other people, the only few other people you've ever known. Giuseppe his back is covered in like restraints, as you can see, like rope and things keep him hog-tied as they lift him up by shoulder. He doesn't look to be injured, but it kind of looks like they're taking him somewhere and he doesn't want to go. And you can see, as he goes to sit up, he yells out, let me help her, and they kind of like let go of him for a moment, and he leans down using his shoulder, and you can see a fragile old hand like lean up onto his shoulder and climb into this boat. As you can kind of see like Granny be like shuffled into a position, as you see like some of them and many of like the other villagers sit there speaking to them and trying to get everybody to like stay organized as villagers are being placed on like boats and rowboats. You can see that these people that are putting these people on rowboats look different, but there are some people with animal skins that look similar to the people that had just attacked you up at the house. They're conversing within each other, and in this moment, one in particular catches your mind, and hones in your attention, and it from far away, it kind of looks like that description that Marion had given of a black cat looking person. And he's very nicely dressed. He has like a red cape with black sailor's clothes. As his entire body is like covered in black. He has like a couple gold rings in his ears and whatnot, as his face is very feline like. And he turns to these people in the animal furs, and he speaks to them in common, to which you can understand, but it's hard to kind of like hear them. But the conversation that you hear, he sounds very posh and proper while he's speaking to what you can only assume is these barbaric people. Did you find the gem? No. We couldn't find it anywhere in their house. They reported back and they didn't find anything. We told them to stay there, but the house is probably burned down by now. You didn't think to look underneath the house? Listen, our jobs are not to search for things. We are simply... I won't say anymore. That's what I thought. No more to say off of a mistake. I will take these people back to Narok, do what the deal would be originally if we had found what we had looked for. But some people don't seem to be good at their jobs, like I am, for the most part. I will take these people back to Narok. You should return to your own nation and find something you're actually good at. How about that? You can see that one of them gets, like, aggressive to this, and he, like, reaches his hand towards the belt. Another one of the men with beast clothing waves his hand off to the side and says, "We'll figure out payment later." As you watch them kind of, like, make their way over to a small kind of, like, sailing boat, as they sail what you can only tell is, like, north, from the western sun. You could see this cat folk person kind of like brush himself off. One down, one to go. If we could have found the second one. You watch as he like steps onto one of the rowboats as they kind of like get rowed out into the distance. You watch as, you know, as far as your eyes can see, Granny and Giuseppe kind of like disappear outwards with, you know, others with them. You know, Marion is, you know, still huddled within these people as she kind of like shuffles around as they take her to the ship. What do you do now?
So I'm gonna start crying. She's gonna have tears in her eyes. She's gonna be like so, you know, it's quiet because she doesn't know if people are still lurking. And I think what's gonna happen is that she's gonna be so paralyzed by like what's going on that she's just gonna like sit there in shock for a while, and then eventually she'll kind of like come to terms with the fact that everything's like
Changed.
been raided. Yeah, and so I think after she kind of finally is like a little bit more numb to what's going on, sort of like in shock, she's gonna try and, you know, look around the ransacked village for anything that she can really find or any clues or anything.
Okay. All right, give me an investigation check.
There.
We love investigation checks in our stories. Investigation checks are so good, so cool.
How do world work? I don't take my investigations very. 3!
A 3?
3!
You find that they've almost left absolutely nothing behind. You're beginning desperate, and it feels like you can't find anything to give you maybe even like a lead in the direction. You get a little bit more serious as, you know, people from your books, they play detective, they can figure things out. So you try to be that same way, but hope begins to feel like it trickles away and leaves from your grasp. You know, it feels like every good detective in your story has a great hint that they can go off of, but you feel like there's no hints, there's no one to talk to. There's nothing that you can find here. But one thing keeps resonating in your mind: what that catfolk said about going back to Narok. Wherever that might be, that is the only thing that kind of like settles in your brain as your biggest clue. What is Narok? Is it a person? Is it a place? Is it a thing that somebody goes to that's also a place because it used to be a person? In this moment, after hearing like the comment on the rock, what would be going through these detective mind thoughts and clues that you could maybe get a head on? What do you deduce from that?
Have that religious book, right?
That you do.
Can I like flip through and see if anything catches my eye that has to do with that name?
You are more than welcome to take a look through the book. I will make sure that it is sent over to you in full.
Dang it, why does the evil guy have to be so attractive? Oh no, he's hot!
Oh no! What's wrong? He's hot!
That's for me.
I'm gonna leave you to that claim there.
Alright, so. Anyways, religious book.
Was you flip through the religious book, I believe that is a good time to take a pause, and we will be right back. Oh. well, you have found yourself in a very, not as scary, but very different place for the most part. And that is a ways away from where you were before. From where we had left off before, your character was trying to find something. Taking some of the notes that Giuseppe had that you knew, and from your reading from what you had just received, you had found your way down to a more southern town that has a port. From this port, you met a salesman trying to get rid of some of the things that he has and thought you would be interested, but you've never really done public sales and whatnot. So eventually he gives up, asks you what you want, and since the one thing you remembered was the Narak, he asks you, you're trying to go to the islands, which you don't completely know too much about, but you said that most likely that would lead you in the right direction. He says, alright, we'll figure out payment when we get there, but I need to go now, so you coming? You say, absolutely, I'm on my way. And you leave that port, sailing all the way to what he says is Domtek, which is the local, colonized island in the Narak Isles, for the most part. While inside there, you can hear, the seagulls from above making their way around as spring, is upon this lovely place in mid-April. You can hear so many animals here, it seems like quite a lively place for the most part as you currently sit below deck. The noise of everything tells you a lot about what this area is supposed to be, As you do so, you watch as the merchant kind of like makes his way down the stairs and says, give me an hour or so and I'll figure out this situation for you and then you can pay me and we'll split our ways. Before he climbs up, and before he kind of re-announces and says, you don't touch anything, as you kind of chill below deck for the moment, what do you choose to do?
I guess she was just gonna be she's very curious, so she's gonna be but at the same time this is new, I haven't seen this before.
You begin to kind of search around the little merchant boxes that he has. You can see that a lot of this is maybe food, weird trinkets, something looks like a perfume spray, but you're not really aware of what it is. It's kind of just a weird thing with a gas ball on the end. It smells very interesting, very nice, but weird, like lavender, but really strong to you.
It sprays in my eye.
Ah! Gets taken back for a moment, but as you get sprayed in the eye, you stumble back for a moment and accidentally bump into a crate. As you can see, kind of the lid pops up just a little bit, and you can see a little inside of it. And as you look down, there's a reflection from inside of this crate that the littlest bit of light is kind of reflecting off to the ceiling and kind of giving you kind of one of those reflected light panels just chilling up there at the top of the boat.
Open.
You're gonna get it open?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be I'm a bird. Shiny things are my calling.
Fair enough. Alright. You place both hands and grabbing it strongly, you give it a big shove and watch it kind of soar over the side of the box and stumble onto the wood. You see a set of what looks like metal man legs almost. They look like they're made out of this silvery iron. And it looks like they look like legs that a humanoid would wear. It kind of looks like what Giuseppe's legs kind of looked like. And you remember from your reading that, these kind of look like a pretty famous prosthetic. But as you look around the crate, you do find a piece of note, and at the beginning of reading it and trying to like make out what you can kind of like deduce from it is that these prosthetics don't work the same way as many of the ones that you had read about.
Okay. So I'm gonna like dangle them, like, see how they like the joints work, see how they kind of like do that, take a look at them.
You can see that for the most part, when you kind of like take them out and lean them like over the side of the crate, they're just like they're very loose. It's like legs without a muscle. It's just like bone and is just the main structure of these like of these legs, and there's no. It doesn't really look like it connects to anything. And from the description that it was before, it was like they don't seal right, to a body to actually be able to function. Most of them were through like embodiments of, given attunement by a cleric to help them, help people learn to use these and walk. And this kind of just looks like it's just like dead and they don't function properly.
Well, now's a good time as any. Just gonna, like, wiggle off, etc. All broken and messed up. Take them off, and then she's gonna look at the cuff of the new ones and see if they like, are comfortable enough. They see if they like kind of fit well.
You kind of put them on what feels like, when you remove the wood ones, you put them on your legs, and they do kind of like, they slide on. There's a little bit of kind of like a gap between, a little bit of like, the nub to move around, um, and kind of like flex in and flex out, and a lot to lean with. Kind of feels like you're putting on like socks for a moment that have like a little bit of kind of like, just like a little bit of like overflow almost. Or you don't really like fill it out completely just yet.
Let's see if I can get my roots to like fidangle it a little bit and like get it to be a little bit more correctly placed.
You want to use like druid craft to try to see if you can't create
Yeah.
something out of this. You activate, using your hands, you place them like at like the midpoint of your hips, and you can feel your body kind of like protrude these roots that make their way around. They took like the more of like the leg bit with it and like snug it up to your thigh, securing it a little bit more. And as you move your hand like down your legs, the vines like follow with, and they tie themselves like around the knee, like the knee cuff that it's got, and kind of like holds it stiff for a moment. And as you move your hand like back and forth just a little bit, you can see that the roots will like flex, almost like mimicking like your muscles, like flex open the bottom bits of like the foot, allowing you to move your foot around. But also like flexing like the knee joint and giving you the ability to like bend the knee joint. But it feels like really weird. Like it almost feels like you're controlling something like puppetry, but that same puppet thing is like connected to you now. So it's both there and not there for you at the moment.
I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna try and like, walk on them a little bit, try to move in them, see if they how they work for me.
As you begin to stand up, it is quite a wobble. As you move your legs down, your vines kind of try to like give you a feeling, but it's a feeling you've never really felt before. There wasn't much that you had walked with other than the peg legs. And they feel somewhat similar to the old prosthetics, but they feel very more like sensitive and a lot more advanced, trying to move it like along. and like take steps. Each step immediately, like one after the other, feels long, and you like catch yourself with your foot before like balancing off and stumbling back for a moment, leaning up against a pole, like one of the beams to keep the ship in shape.
These things, what they're talking about, that not working means they seem to be working. I'm sure no one will listen. I think they could go to good use.
As you take one step after another, you kind of like see the light of the upper deck, up to the sunshine. What do you choose to do?
Um, well, first I want to look around again and see if there's anything that can like hold my gemstone together, uh, like a
Okay.
permanent
Give
measure kind
me,
of thing.
in that case, kind of since you weren't able to find anything normally, give me an investigation check looking for, like utilities. I would say.
Investigation looking for utilities. What does that mean?
Give me an investigation check as your character looks for things to
Oh, okay.
like tighten the gem and keep it from like falling out
Yep.
or keep it more secure. A 4. Um.
Well, that's
Eh.
worst comes to worst. I can just recast a spell. It's fine.
I would say that you can't really find much that would seems to be of help to something as specific as a gem.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said you could
Um,
cast a spell. What spell were you thinking about running?
it's not a spell to begin with. It's a cantrip, so it's just a one off. So it doesn't require spell slots.
Okay, and you said you were using
Uh,
what? Sorry.
Elementalism, sculpt element, cause
Okay.
dirt, sand, fire, smoke, mist, or water that can fit in a one cube to assume a crude shape, such as that of a creature for 1 hour. I'm just
Okay,
gonna,
so you're gonna do that part again until you can find something better. And kind of continue
yeah,
to have that hold that together, using
yeah.
nature to keep it together. All right, sounds good. All right. You kind of like cast the element, and you can kind of feel the water seep through and up these like new metal legs, and it feels weird for a second because when it finally like touches your skin, it's a cold feeling as it kind of like seeped up the metal. But using the salt and like the water, it kind of makes this like stickier esque like dry substance that sticks itself to the gem and keeps it from kind of like lingering apart from each other and puts this almost like coating on the outside made off of like the musk sand at the bottom and makes a very kind of like gentle kind of like spread over it um
Mm.
to kind of make like a paste that keeps it there.
Once I got all that figured out, I think like she's gonna like hear that like things are getting louder and that things are going on. She's gonna like go see what's up where the lights come in. Make her way that way.
As you make your way, kind of like trying to like trickle your way up the stairs, I'm assuming you kind of like put your hands out sometimes to both collect your balance, but sometimes almost like crawl up like animal style for the most
Yeah,
part. Like a kid running up the stairs after shutting off the lights.
yeah.
Um, Eventually you kind of like peek your head out to this very like normally like the woods keeps you in the shade, but this is like a very like summer environment. The moment you come up here, it feels like summer humidity is like in the air. The sun feels like it's a blazing hot ray of disgust at the moment from, the nice like gentle spring wintry kind of feel. But this area is obviously a lot more south than what you are used to. As it kind of like hits you with like this very heavy brightness. And as you look out, It kind of looks like what you've seen when what you would think it looks like when Marion had told you that there are bigger villages and bigger towns, as these look like more progressed and advanced buildings. You know, the houses aren't made out of straw, they're made out of like what this like collected stone that reaches to the top, and these weird like orange like plates lined the top of these roofs, um and like cover them like how the wheat and hay would for most people's homes where you come from. The streets themselves aren't dirt or mud or like even like a withered grass. Those same bricks that line those house line these walkways and whatnot. Um, as they kind of like almost form like these concrete wilderness sort of like streets and whatnot.
Jungle. No, okay. So Wren, she's gonna like fully trust that the guy that took her here took her to Narok. She's gonna fully trust that. She's gonna be like, okay, this is where I needed to go. And so then she's gonna be like, okay, Gran's here. I gotta go look for Gran. So then she's gets it set in her mind to
To
go
set
and see
off
where she
and
can.
look.
Yes.
As you make your way kind of like off the boat, like trickling off, you can hear in the distance of that one the dude who helped you. It's like, where are they? And he like you can see he's kind of like going through it, some of the boxes that he's got, but you are focused on a mission. You're an element on a mission for the most part right now. As you make your way off of the boat and like into this like city area for the most part. As you make your way around, I mean, this is a lot more active than what you're used to. People walking by. You see these large wagons be pulled by cattle, and you've only seen those like a couple of times, but you see like, multiple horses pulling um like large wagons, and some of them you notice have like people in them, and for you that almost kind of like catches you off guard. Why are you pulling just people? Maybe there's other things in there, possibly. Um, but it's really kind of like an ooh and ah for you as you try to figure out how this works for the most part. Is there any like instinctive things that you're thinking might lead you to um where Granny is? Anything that might be able
So
to help you?
Ren's first thought is gonna be how Marion told her about this wizard guy, to find this like wizard guy in a city and like look out for him. So I think what she's gonna try and do is she's gonna try and be like, kind of like stick to herself, but also try to look for anything that like looks like this guy, has like reminiscence of this guy.
And you remember
That,
what this guy looks like? Remember the description given for you?
yeah, it's this wizard not looking wizard guy who has like cat like features and blue markings.
All right. Sounds like we got the notice of what he looks like down. Sorry, I got something from somebody. So as you kind of like make your way around looking for this person, you take very deep looks at people, and they kind of like are a little bit spooked of you at first. As they don't really know what you are either.
Just dead staring at them like, oh.
But these look like people that you've never seen before. Mainly you're used to like, tieflings, humans, maybe an elf or so. But you see very short people. You watch as like dwarves make their way down the street. And then just such short-legged, and then you see what seems to be like what you would assume is like a full-sized human, but it must be a child that looks like a full-grown adult. Like a little kid that somehow looks, as you hear like a halfling make his way down the street, as he files through like peepers and whatnot. Um, and this outside world is kind of confusing now because not a lot of what looks like here is beginning to make sense for you. Um, from how all around this place really is. And the amount of things that you just haven't seen. As you continue to make your way through, you're kind of distraught by the size of this town. It is so, like, it's not the biggest, but it's so large to you. You find yourself in, like, the middle of the area, and there's so many people to count, and so many, you know, so many people to count, so many faces to try to keep track of. What's your character feeling right now?
Mensch anxiety. She's like, how am I gonna find Gran in this place that's like so weird and different and so far away from everything? And I think she's gonna start having like a lot of panickiness. And because of that, I think she's gonna need to get away from like all the crowds and everything. So she's gonna just dart into the first like secluded-ish building she can find and just like dart in there and like just go, try to get her bearings a little bit.
Try to catch breath, see what
Yeah.
we can't get together. All right. You make your way into this kind of like not an alleyway, but this little um area, and things proceed to kind of like calm down. You feel enclosed, you feel safe here. The wood around kind of reminds you of home for the most part, but it is overwhelming. You know what are you thinking right now? Are you trying to find a solution? Is there one? What's going, like, on a more verbal scale, like what's going through Ren's mind?
Hey, she's thinking things like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? When he's usually so good at telling me what to do, I didn't do stuff he's about to. There's like there's little muscular babies everywhere, and there's there's and there's so many weird creatures. There's wire wagons, just people. That's so weird. Like why? There's not even any cartridges. And the guy on the ship was like kind of weird. He was asking about like weird things like pavement and like things. I don't know.
As you kind of like sit there and try to like go through things, you feel a gentle hand kind of like be placed against your shoulder, um and say, "You lost?" In a very like assuring voice. Do you choose to take a look?
Yeah, but it's gonna be a very like frazzled look, like oh,
Um, you watch as he kind of like holds out his hands and says, "I don't mean to scare you. I'm sorry. Trust me, I was frightened too with the first time I found myself lost with no real things to do. May I sit next to you?"
it's not on the street or anything. Sure.
He goes to take a seat next to you. The description of the person you're looking at is, and tell me if you've heard this description before. His face has one gray line, very long, brown, like deep brown black hair, that you can see kind of just fades off, behind his head. Um, Very, a medium but very combed and very like put together beard um sits on his face. You can see a bow strapped around his shoulder, with a very like, smooth leathered out,
I think I
um
know who this is.
leathered out quiver. And his outfit is like white with kind of like red like lining outer stripes. As he comes down to your level, um, and says, "You know, I was questioning many things at a time like this. And I won't say that I know what you're going through. I won't assume anything of a friend I've just met. But I can tell that you are in trouble, and I think that I haven't spent enough time with people who have found themselves in trouble. So, I'm sorry?
Are you also looking for your...
You can see him kind of like stare off from you for a moment. I've been looking for a lot of things for too long now. And on my end, I haven't been able to find all of the answers, nor do I know even what I'm looking for right now. But one of the things a friend once told me in a band of music is that hope can never go away. It just depends on whether or not you want to listen to it today. Now, that was a very wise, winged person, but I think what both me and you need right now is a little bit of hope. And I think the gods have brought me to you to find somebody else in that same predicament. What's wrong?
I'm not really from here. Okay, you can't really tell. Can't tell. Um, and my granny, she got like taken, and I'm supposed to be going to this place to rock to like find her, but and this guy, oh, he like took me on a rock, and that's really right, and I'm. She's somewhere here, but I've never been in a city this big before. Usually, there's only like 12 houses in my town, and I live up in the mountains. A lot of stuff, but not a lot of houses. And I just need really help looking for her. Do you know where I can find her?
He gives you a kind of like a side frowned face as he kind of like leans back and forth. And at first you take it as kind of like a nod, but you can tell that it's not a nod in good faith. As he kind of like leans down and like leans in and says, I don't think I know where she has gone, but I can
A
tell.
sheep. Uh, wait. A sheep once told me that there is this guy I need to look for. That if I ever go to a big city, I need to look for this guy. Maybe
Mhm.
you know him. He's a really respectable guy. So I've heard. It he has like he's like a cat guy, and he has like horns and like blue markings on him.
I know that he is not here because I personally do not know who you are speaking about.
Dang it! Well, that was my.
Listen. Calm yourself, because a bird cannot fly if it is too concerned with what it is looking for.
Well, I don't have
I'm not
wings to
very
fly
good at
with
the
it.
province, anyways. Not very good with those. Um, uh, well, it was a lot better at this than I was. Listen, my advice to you would be take what you know and calm yourself. Go one step at a time and don't freak out. The more you freak out is the more time you waste.
That's
So,
that's very good. That's very good. That's very good.
you can see a group of people in the distance, a group of what looks like six, and they are very majestic looking individuals
Wow.
behind where they are. They are dressed in very like high armor. As you kind of like peek out around um this person who does not have a name, but you know who I'm speaking about.
Hmm.
We might have met this person before in another life, one way or another. Um, but as you kind of like look past him, you can see that like there are a group of these people dressed in very what looks like very expensive garments and armor. They carry very large and some thin weapons with them, and they yell out to his name and say, "We have places to be. You can't hang around with all of the common folk now, can you?" You can see that, our newfound friend, he looks at you and says, "Go to the fountain and clear your mind. Wash your face. You smell like a salty ocean."
Yeah, yeah.
You can see that he walks, stands up and he grabs your hands and he helps you up, like onto your feet. He goes, "Are you okay?"
I think I will be.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, my name's Wren, by the way. How about you?
Um, you say that and he's very like hesitant at first, but he takes out his hand and like grabs yours and kind of just using your thumb kind of like shakes it, just like that. And he says, "Arad, it's been a pleasure
Oh, it's
meeting
nice to
you,
meet
friend."
you. I'm glad to have made a new friend. It's nice to meet you.
Well, I must be off and so must you. So
Yes, yes. Go
please,
to the fountain. Wash my face. One step at a time. Okay.
one step at a time. Good luck.
You too. You too. Whatever it is that you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, but I don't want to guess. I'm to me, but good luck to you too.
I'm assuming you make your way away now.
Yes, I do.
You make your way away and towards the fountain. As you do, Ared's face is left very, the smile fades and he looks upset now. He turns after picking up his things and makes his way back to the people that had shouted out your name, going the opposite direction of this kind of like um two-way alley that kind of like meets that kind of like makes like a long hallway is kind of where you were as he moves to the other side. As you make your way out to the fountain, like more into like the public area, um uh how do you wash your face? You just go face first into it?
um,
Or you got a little bit more manners than that at the creek?
I think I got a little bit more manners than that. I think, yeah. I feel like Granny would be a very like modest lady, so she'd be like, "Oh, you have to find your manners," So she,
Cup to
yeah,
hands.
yeah, like do some dabbing, do some stuff, ruffling it through the hair feathers, everything like that.
As you kind of like lean down to do so, you get a scoop of water, you give it a little bit of dab, kind of like wash your face off. You use a little bit of your cloth, kind of like trying to move, and you go around like the main parts of your face, trying to get it off for the most part. Um, and eventually, however, you hear a shout come from down from where like the dock area was before, and you can hear like a very loud march. Um, of what originally kind of sounds like just heavy boots make their way towards you across the asphalt, which is a sound you've never really like heard before. As they make their way down and like rustle through the crowd and approach you, and they say, "Stop right there!" As they try to like get you to not go anywhere. Stop, move, don't freeze. You know. What do you choose to do?
I'm just gonna continue washing my face.
Just
They
leans
didn't
up.
really. They must be talking about somebody else.
You can see as they kind of like approach you, one kind of like grabs your arm that like shakes you a little bit, um, and says, "Are you the bird person that stole a set of legs?"
What do you mean?
Are you,
Take
are
anything?
you,
I just feel
he looks down at your legs for a moment and sees like the iron legs. "It is you. You're coming with me." And eventually, he kind of like tries dragging you away. Do you like fight, or you're just kind of more or less confused?
Just confused. I'm just like getting dragged along, be like,
He pulls you kind of like through. He gets really annoyed with how new you are to walking. As you kind of like wobble off to the side. As he kind of like tugs you like again and again, like trying to make you like, move further. And this guy's also kind of like armored, but he's not as like built up armored as the people calling out for the Arad friend. They make their way towards towards this like smaller building, more or less, and he opens this door that has like these kind of like bars in it, and he takes you in, and he says to the person, because there's somebody like sitting behind like a desk for a moment, and he turns to you and says, "State your name."
Wren?
"What's your last name?"
What's up? What?
"Your last name."
It's just Wren.
"Your surname, then."
What's his surname? I don't know any sirs.
I'm actually a ma'am. I don't know. Good for you for not totally assuming, but I mean, I guess you kind of did because you thought I was a dude. Um, uh, he kind of like grunts and just says, "I'll take him downstairs." And he steps away from the person by the desk and brings you down like these stone stairs, and using like a set of keys, he unlocks this big like cage. As he like swings it open, he says, "Get in there."
Place.
What'd you say?
What is this place?
"This is jail. Get in there. You're being imprisoned for robbery."
Sorry.
You just say sorry.
What's robbery?
Oh, what's robbery? I thought you said. Oh, sorry. It's when you thieve an object that doesn't belong to you.
Leave an object.
Just-
Not to.
Just get in the cell.
Hey, sure.
I'm assuming you kind of just like hustle in there just a little bit.
Yeah.
You kind of like hustle in and eventually kind of like find yourself a seat. Sitting next to you, as you kind of like sit in there, you sit between these two dudes. One, kind of looks like a fish. Sort of. It's like a fish person, and the other one's this like very large, like wide-bodied man on the terms of like he's very like bulky. As you kind of like slide in between them, sitting down.
Oh. Hi.
You can see that the fish dude kind of just like ignores you and like leans away. And this more like bulkier man, he gives you a tiny little wave. Before we wrap up this solo session, Wren, I was making a mistake in the first half of it. Wren is going to be the party's druid, as she finds herself in the same cell that many of our other players are going to probably find themselves as well. Her, however, she's wanted for thievery and robbery of the legs that she has taken, and she will be in this holding cell for quite a while more. But the mystery still continues for Wren and her journey of trying to better secure her gem, so that way she still clings on to life herself, but find where Giuseppe and Granny have found themselves in this big-esque city of Domtech. Join us February 22nd to see what the continuation of Wren's story might look like, and catch up almost every Sunday after that on our Twitch at 6 p.m. EST to find out what the journey of Wren will look like going forward, and the many adventures around this great world of Ophelio that Wren might find herself getting into, as well as some of the other party members helping her explore the great big world that we so far have created. My documents of links below will be found in the description. And remember, everybody, all fate is decided at the table. Good night, everyone.